Listen, you guys, they are cooking, grilling, and roasting Ebro on the internet. And personally, I live for times like this because I have been saying the same thing that this guy is an actual clown. And we're also going to be talking about the Billboard Women in Music event, as well as Kai Cenat and what he had to say about the Kendrick Lamar performance. Looking from the sidelines, I'm just like, Kai, are you sure this is what you have decided to do? Why would you say something like that about Kendrick's performance? And you guys don't be surprised if in 3 business days, Kai comes back apologizing. Hello, tea lovers, and welcome to the Tea Plug. I trust you guys are doing well, and I trust you are doing great. Personally, I am doing great, you guys. I am doing extremely amazing. And without further ado, let us dive straight into today's tea. So first of all, we're going to talk about Ebro. Ebro is getting cooked on Twitter. Ebro has been a certified hater of anyone that the industry machine is going against. And I feel like at some point he does not even realize that he's drowning in his bitterness. He's drowning in his haterade to a point where he doesn't even realize it because it begins to sound ridiculous. I cannot believe the video that I just watched of what Ebro was saying. I was like, wow. Look, does he even look back? Does he play back and realize how ridiculous it sounded? If any of you are wondering why I've always thought that Ebro is a dad or a clown, it's because of his major part that he played in diluting female rap. Personally, that's when I was like, listen, it seems like he stands for nothing. He goes wherever the industry wind is blowing towards. That's where Ebro goes, okay? If you guys do not know about this, back in the day, Ebro and Dadenberg, yes, together with Rosenberg, they were applauding each other and giving each other flowers. Ebro basically saying to Rosenberg, congratulations, you might have single-handedly ended Nicki Minaj's career. And then he proceeded to say, did you talk to YT people? Did you bring up, did you bring it up in your meeting with the YT people? Okay, basically insinuating that, well, Rosenberg would bring up Nicki Minaj's career to the YT people. And we all know who those are. Those are obviously the industry executives that would subsequently launch an H train against Nicki Minaj, which some of you up to this point still want to act like it never happened, despite several people coming out and witnessing that this actually happened. Even if I do insert what Ebro and Rosenberg were saying on that radio there, some of you will still find an excuse to talk about this. But anyway, let me insert this, you guys, so that you will know that I'm not making this up.
And says that last week on Nicki's Black Friday release of her new version of the album, she sold 36,000.
No!
36,000. Got it.
Now, Rosenberg, that's all you. You put in work on her, son. You gotta own this one. You may have ended Nicki Minaj's career.
Well, just to play devil's.
Now, you heard that, you guys. You heard Ebro celebrating the end of what they thought was going to be, or what they thought at least was going to be the end of Nicki Minaj's career, okay? You heard him loud and clear. This is all coming from his mouth, okay? And they're celebrating. So when Nicki Minaj says that these people came together to...
Is a re-release of the old album with newer tracks, right?
It's 36,000 copies.
How much did she sell last time?
Of the album?
Yes.
It's over gold. It's in the first week. She did what, 200,000 the first week or something like that?
And now she's down to 36 after you make your comments?
What is going on?
Rosenberg, you're gonna have to own this.
I did not end Nicki Minaj's career. I think she's gonna be all right.
Did you bring up Nicki Minaj's career in the meeting?
What, with the white people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you hear him? He clearly said, did you bring up Nicki's career with the YT people? Well, there you heard that, you guys. And shortly after they said this, you would see these guys come out and basically push the transformer and make excuses for the transformer. So when I see him in today's world trying to say that Drake is a problem because, well, he's not talented, he's like this, he's a sickness. He did use the word sickness. And this is the same person that up to this day would still defend the transformer, would still defend a reciter in the hip-hop space. So that coming from the same mouth, to me, it makes me just look at everything sideways. And if Kendrick's intentions really are just about the culture and preserving the culture, having people like this back him up, I don't know, you guys. I really don't know. I don't know if this is about the culture. I don't know. I want to believe that this is solely about the culture, but I find it hard to believe when the same people are still out there perpetuating, the narrative that it's okay not to write, it's okay to recite, it's okay to this, and then they turn around and they say we're preserving the culture. What culture are you preserving? Exactly. Because in one breath you said that, well, it doesn't matter anymore in today's world whether you write or not. As long as someone is getting number one hits, that's all that matters. They were saying that pertaining to female rap. And then now the same Ebro is turning around and saying that you shouldn't be worried about hits. Oh my God, you're a sickness in the hip hop space. It's ridiculous, you guys. I will insert the audio, don't worry. But after he did that entire segment with Dadenberg, you could tell if that even his co-hosts were like appalled. They were noticing and realizing how ridiculous it sounded, and he didn't realize it. He kept on going and going and embarrassing himself. After that, he went on Twitter and he decided to continue, you guys. So it seems like lately it's no longer about everything. Now that they've realized that the PDF is not working on Drake, they are now criticizing him for being a rapper. They are criticizing him for doing what most rappers do. I mean, how can you be criticizing Drake and applauding Future in the same breath? How many baby mamas does Drake have? And when did we come from it being a rap battle to media personalities criticizing the fact that he's out there dating multiple women or whatever? Like, are you serious? Are you serious? And for people who still want to act like this is about the rap beef, this is nothing to do with the industry, I'm just looking at you like, seriously, do you genuinely believe that, or are you just wherever the wind is blowing, that's where you go? Because I've also realized that there are certain people that as long as someone is on the top winning, if they are in their own fields not winning, they relate more with the hater who is going to quote unquote humble the person that is on the top, the person that is winning. The same way that if a side chick sees married woman who's happily married and seems to have her ish together in her household with her husband, they are inclined to tell that woman that all men cheat. Because what? They relate more to the struggle of being a side chick than to being the woman like that is in a happy marriage. I do understand where some of you come from, honestly. The whole thing of humbling somebody is very entertaining to you, to the point where even when sometimes you can see everything, right? Like, you cannot tell me that after you listen to this Ebro thing, you think that this is normal. And you would think that this is about them wanting the culture back or stuff like that, when Ebro was in the forefront of diluting the same culture. It doesn't make any sense. And some of you want to compare academics to Ebro. You guys want to say that, well, academics does the same thing. He's biased towards Drake and stuff like that. And I'm like, do you guys realize that academics does not sit on any meeting representing the culture, quote unquote? He's not an Apple employee. He doesn't work for Apple. He doesn't head in like a corporate department claiming to represent the genre. That's different. It's just like the equivalent of a judge or somebody who's part of the jury saying that, well, the person who's being accused, I personally had differences with them, so now I'm going to be biased against them because of what they did previously in my own personal matters. And someone who's randomly sitting in the court saying, I support the criminal. Those are two different things, because one has influence, one has power. And the influence that the other one has is not to use it for your personal feelings. So if Ebro is now using his personal feelings in this entire thing, when he's expected to be this respected media personality that represents hip-hop to these YT people in these conferences, it's a problem. And if you don't see it, I don't know if we can have a logical conversation about this. But anyway, you guys, soon after that entire thing with Rosenberg, he decided to go on Twitter and he said that Drake has a sickness because he's constantly chasing after women. He said the inability to admit excessive materialism, excessive partying, and women, and not even evolving from your 25 or 30-year-old self is a sickness. This is what Ebro said. And this was after people were criticizing him for calling Drake a sickness on a public platform like that. So he followed up with this, and people were cooking him in the comments section. People were cooking him in the quotes. People were like, listen, you're being hypocritical right now. We understand if you say he's a bad rapper. We understand if you say he's a reciter. We understand if you say all these different things. But now attacking him for what he does in his private time, in his personal life, which is not a criminal offense, when you are the same people who cannot even call out the sickness in the diddler and these allegations. And you guys sit out here and say, it's about the culture. The same culture, the same Ebro who won't say anything negative about Diddy, but is quick to say that because somebody is excessively partying, they are a sickness. But a person who's being accused of these vile crimes, who's currently in jail, Ebro cannot even speak up against that. And you guys don't see anything wrong with that because, well, as long as they're hating Drake because we don't like Drake. I mean, I don't like Drake too. But when are we going to call out the hypocrisy in all of this? It's sick to me. It's like, so you're telling me that Kendrick and Drake's rap beef should be called out. We should all be activists behind this. But when it comes to real life issues, like what other people, powerful people in the culture have been doing, let's be crickets about it. But let's crucify Drake because how dare he parties? How dare he chases after number ones? How dare he wants to dominate all genres? How dare he? Are you serious? It's okay to not like someone, but to applaud these media personalities when they're being ridiculous is absolutely insane to me. And so people, after they started cooking him, he's like, well, it's weird because I wasn't talking about Drake. Like, you can't even stand on business? Really? Like, it's been less than 24 hours since you called this man a sickness, and you follow up with a tweet talking about sickness, and now you want to turn around and say, no, it's not about Drake. Somebody said, why did Drake's fans assume this post was about him? He didn't even mention any names. And Ebro said, it's weird for real. And then after that, he said, I cannot wait for Friday. That album is about to be fire. If this is not obsession, you guys, I don't know what is, okay? Put your dislike for Drake aside and see this thing for what it is. What is this? And then he went ahead and said, where does this say this is about Drake? Y'all are obsessed. The fact that people will still applaud him as long as he's going against Drake, to me, is ridiculous, you guys. Like, wow. Wow, I get it. Drake is not your favorite. I get it. He's not my favorite either. But if you guys are giving a pass to Ebro for this ridiculousness, wow. This is crazy, you guys. But anyway, it seems like people are finally waking up. And what it's going to do is it's going to discredit Kendrick Lamar, even when he had fairly won the battle or whatever. People now are beginning to look at everything sideways. And people are now beginning to question even Kendrick's motive. Like, it's people like Ebro that are now starting to make people question, really, what is happening? Is this an H-train happening? Because they are overdoing it. Ebro is overdoing it. This is not your beef to fight. I think he's getting confused. He's thinking that is Kendrick Lamar. You know? This is something that Kendrick should be doing. This is not something that media personalities should be doing. Especially media personalities that are not independent. You're not an independent media personality, Ebro. You work for Apple. And so when you show your bias like this, you work for radio. Like, what are you doing? You cannot compare Kendrick to academics. You can't do that. Logically, it doesn't even make any sense. But anyway, you guys, let me know in the comment section what you think about what in the identity crisis do you think is happening with Ebro, with this entire situation. It's pathetic. And the people that turn a blind eye to this are also pathetic. And the people who try and say there's no hypocrisy, and the people who still believe that Drake versus Kendrick is just about the two rappers and Kendrick trying to reset the culture. Oh my God, the industry is a dirty place, you guys. Oh my goodness. And what's sad is there are people who are willingly going to play into these industry politics, and they will act like they are dense just because they also feel some type of way about seeing somebody at the top winning so much. So they hide behind the culture. A lot of people do hide behind the culture to present their hater-ish. Like, if you are the same person who doesn't have a problem with Cardi B, but now you have a problem with Drake, I personally will not take you seriously. Okay? But if you're somebody who stood on business in 2018 and you're now standing on business today when it comes to Drake, I respect you. Because at least you stand for something. Do you get what I'm saying? But if you are somebody who sees nothing wrong with what Ebro is doing, and you're saying this is still about the culture, and you are trying to convince us that to Ebro it's about the culture, then it's a problem. Then to me, it doesn't make any sense. To me, it comes off as hypocritical. But if you're brave enough to call out Ebro to say, like, listen, sir, Kendrick might have had an agenda to say, listen, we are trying to reset the culture. We're trying to claim back the culture, the genre and stuff like that. But Ebro, you're doing too much. At least that's something that can be believable, you know? But if you cannot even be honest enough to see what is happening with the Ebros and the Joe Bidens and all of these people, then the conversation becomes interesting. But anyway, let me insert what Ebro had to say. I don't think that I'm going to be coming back. All these things that the other things that I wanted to talk about, I'll talk about them in another video because this one became very long. So yeah, catch me in another video as I cover all these other topics. Let me insert what Ebro actually said and I'll catch you guys after that.
And you say, Ebro, why do you say that? That's what the Super Bowl is for. That's what people get out there and do. They get up there and they play everyone's favorite songs. That's the job. Well, I've never known Kendrick Lamar to get up in front of people and just do what they expect. It's never happened. True. When did that happen? At what concert? At what award show? Where? Show me.
I think it dawned on me yesterday. It was like, he literally now has made it. He's never compromised at any point.
Never.
Now, in his lack of compromising, he's become the biggest he's ever been, by far surpassing any expectation he ever even had. Why would he compromise now?
Well, and by the way, remember the Super Bowl, they invite you. It's not like there's a petition to like get selected or
unless you're Lil Wayne. Sorry, hit the button one more time. I'm sorry.
Wow. Why would you do that, man? What's wrong with you, bro? Come on, man. Come on, man. Why are you doing this? But yeah, no, y'all invited me. I'm gonna show up and do me.
Now, do you think the NFL considered in any way like the idea that being involved in the Drake thing, like if God forbid somehow something went left after this point, they could somehow be liable for it?
I don't know the answer to that, but what I do know is that Rock Nation produces the halftime show. So that's the agreement. From what I understand, once they select the person, it's what it is. And so I don't see why, they would be liable for something that is already out in public. It's not like they premiered the song at the Super Bowl. It's not like they're saying that they endorsed Kendrick's messaging. It's not like they're saying that they, I think that lawsuit is so fraudulent, it's crazy.
Are you talking about lawsuits, Rosenberg, or are you talking about other stuff?
No, I'm talking about like... Oh, no. I'm talking about if something... I don't know, man.
Right.
Like, he said liable, so that's lawsuit.
In that case, I mean lawsuit. But right. I'm saying if God forbid, like, this was the moment that was so embarrassing for Drake that it sent him to some bad sort of spin, right? Would that fall back on all the people that were involved in...
Well, I got news for you. If they try that, meanwhile, Drake, at your shows, you're changing lyrics to songs and saying... Yeah. Y'all couldn't in your sweatshirt with smoke coming out the back. So
he said beef is live. I never
beef is live. He says beef is live. Mm-hmm. I'm not.
Yeah.
So he's still leaning in. So at what point is it now? Like, what are we doing here? Like, you don't want this to go away either, bro.
No, this is up. How they say up and it's stuck?
It's up and it's stuck. And by the way, most
people say it will do it.
Most people I know that are anywhere near any of this want it to be over.
Well,
he said game over himself, right?
Well, See, that it
Yeah,
gets
but
weird.
that
there.
hit the button.
Yeah, I guess hit the button because
Who said game over?
You can't dictate
Kendrick
when
Lamar.
you can't dictate when the game is over.
Congratulations.
At the end of his performance.
yourself.
Nah, you can't do
Ebro,
that.
it said game over in.
Oh,
in
yeah.
drones
No, I thought,
across the
yeah,
stadium.
I saw that. I saw it most.
I don't know if that. Listen, saying game over. If you're like, hey, I think it's over, man. In fact, I'm going to write game over in drones. That doesn't mean it's over.
I don't. It was that. No, I think that was the seats were lighting up. I think it was lighting on the seats.
I
yeah.
didn't. All I know is I saw the lights.
Well, I will say this. I don't even think that performance was about Drake. Drake is just a proxy. I think that's what people are really getting screwed up since it's
No,
all
it was more
been-
about America. It was definitely more about America and the view of the right and white America towards black America than it was about Drake. It was more of that. It was literally called, he said, Sam Jackson says at the beginning, welcome to the great American game. The game was America.
Both things can be true in real life.
Oh, no, he took the shots.
No, I'm not saying it. I'm not saying I'm not, listen.
It's a double entendre all day.
It has more than one meaning for sure.
Facts.
But once again, going back to the whole thing, did it get personal? Yes. Was it specifically between Kendrick and Drake? Yes. Drake is not that important. The reason Drake's in this is because he is a sickness in the game. It could have been any artist. It's what Drake represents. We've been saying this for months. People love Drake. They love his music. We love his music. He's beloved. He's not willing to go rip his soul from the bottom and do ayahuasca and look himself in the mirror as Kendrick had prescribed to him. On what song was that? Euphoria? No.
Seems like it's about Drake, but continue.
No, but it's about what the game does to someone who's trying to dominate it.
Right.
That's the moral of the story. A lot of artists have been through what Drake's going through.
Not too many. It's just uncharted territory.
No, see, once again, you guys are missing the point.
No, we're not.
Yes, you are. Somebody who's chart chasing, just trying to dominate the game and losing themselves while they're trying to chase the game. You guys are just focused on the battle. You're not focused on the actual sickness.
But Drake's level's never been reached in hip hop before either.
Right, because nobody's ever had this level of sickness before, where they're trying to be an art. You're trying to dominate R&B. You're trying to dominate hip hop. You're trying to dominate pop. You're trying to have people write your records. You're trying to do all of these things simultaneous. And oh, by the way, you're also behind the scenes doing people dirty. Like it hasn't happened at this level before. You're right.
But no, hold on. Are you Dave Free, bro? That's also, let's be realistic. He's also the most successful mainstream rapper of all time.
Yeah, yes.
Right.
Yes.
You can't leave that part and all the things you
I just said that.
Right.
I just said that.
And Kendrick is too.
Kendrick is
But
what?
they're just
A very successful, Kendrick is not a success. Rosenberg.
Very successful, but he's not a pop star the way Drake is.
No. But Kendrick is up there, bro. Like, and that's another thing.
He is.
People are not giving Kendrick his props. Like, this is kind of, in a way, when people put Drake on this level, they also don't put Kendrick up there. Kendrick is up there, guys.
I think people know that.
He's up there. He's done it. Like, to Ebro's point, he's done it in a moral way. To Ebro's point, more staying true to hip hop and more in a moral way. But he's also up there. Like, let's not act like these guys.
All I'm talking about is what the halftime show was highlighting, which is how you're going to play the game, the quote game.
The American.
That's what the whole thing was about. Drake has decided to play the game in a way where he went from the suburban kid who lived with his mom, and all of a sudden now you've got mob ties and bullet holes in your sweatshirt with smoke coming out the back. Where Kendrick was trying to be more true to his origins and what is important to him. What was important to Drake was the money, the chart dominance, co-opting other styles into his style. That was his thing. And he was very successful at it. And that came with a price tag. Versus the other guy who's also had a price tag associated